Breaking right now, Brian Walshe pleading guilty to 2 lesser charges just before jury selection was set to begin. Walshe still faces murder charges in connection with the death of his wife, Anna. He has now admitted to moving her body, among other things. We want to get straight to WBZ's Kmitt, live outside the courthouse in Dedham with details. Penny?
Well, Chris, as part of these now guilty pleas, Brian Walshe essentially had to admit that his wife, Anna Walshe, is dead. This was a huge development. This has been something that's been up in the air. As you'll remember, Anna Walshe's body has never been found. Now, the big question for the trial is going to be less of if she died and how she died, with Walshe still maintaining his not guilty plea to her murder. Walshe did plead guilty to misleading a police investigation and improper conveyance of a dead body. Prosecutors say that Walshe made false statements about Anna being alive and continued to do so, tying up Cohasset City resources to search for her. Prosecutors say Walshe also improperly disposed of Anna's body without authority or a license to do so, but did not agree. Walshe did not agree to any specifics or details surrounding that disposal. These 2 charges could earn Walshe up to 23 years behind bars.
You, in fact, willfully mislead various law enforcement to include members of the Cohasset Police Department and the Massachusetts State Police with the intent to impede or interfere with a criminal investigation of Anna Walshe's disappearance.
Yes, Your Honor.
The defendant, Brian Walshe, willfully conveyed away the body of Anna Walshe or the remains thereof from the Walshe residence at 516 Chief Justice Cushing Highway in Cohasset by conveying and disposing of Anna Walshe's body without a license or lawful authority or the remains thereof into dumpsters and or garbage receptacles in eastern Massachusetts.
And did you do those things or join others in doing those acts?
Yes, Your Honor.
And now the jury selection process is underway. 84 potential jurors were called into the courthouse this morning. One of them was actually already sat. So we have 1 of 16. The judge says she wants 16 jurors sat for this trial, and then 12 will ultimately deliberate. From Dedham, I'm Penny Kmitt, WBZ News.
All right, great information there, Penny. Thank you. WBZ legal analyst Jennifer Roman joins us now with more on this change of plea. Jennifer, thanks for joining us. First and foremost, how much could today's development change the course of the trial?
This is a really interesting twist in the defense strategy here. By having Brian Walshe plead guilty to these two lesser charges, he's acknowledged that she's dead, which we didn't have that acknowledgement before. And he's also acknowledged he had some part in the disposal of her body, but not the actual murder. And what I think is happening here is that the defense is saying, look, he's going to take responsibility, prosecution. Can we work out a plea deal? A defendant cannot plead guilty to first-degree murder. That's just the way our law is written. You're not permitted to plead guilty to first-degree murder, and you're granted an automatic right to an appeal if you're convicted. So by pleading to these lesser offenses, I think what the defense is saying to the prosecution is he'll plead guilty to a lesser charge than first-degree murder if you'll put it on the table. So what could he plead to? Potentially second-degree murder. He could plead to an even lesser charge, which would be involuntary manslaughter. And the benefits to Brian Walshe, if that's the plea deal that's on the table for him, is that on a first-degree murder conviction, he would have life without parole. If he was to plead to a lesser charge, such as second-degree murder or involuntary manslaughter, he might still have life in prison, but he would have the ability to be paroled, which he would not get under a first-degree murder conviction. Yeah. So there is some benefit to him here, if that's in fact where this is going.
Yeah, and of course, it takes 2 to tango. So what would the potential benefit be for the prosecution if they were to accept such a hypothetical deal?
Well, it's a bird in hand for the prosecution. It's a guaranteed conviction if he pleads guilty. It is to a lesser offense than what he's currently charged with, but it would secure them a conviction, which is, a known factor. Anything can happen when you take a case to a jury. And I can't help but imagine that the Norfolk DA's office is somewhat licking their wounds still from the Karen Reed trials, where they were unable to secure a conviction on a highly publicized case. And so sometimes although they treat every case differently, the prosecution has to look at this and say, if we can secure a conviction, then maybe that's where we want to go with this. Maybe we don't need to spend the Commonwealth's resources on a trial and then what will become an automatic appeal, because that is very expensive for the taxpayers to fund. And if they're going to be guaranteed a conviction, maybe that's more appealing to the prosecution to have that conviction.
Yeah, sure, that court of public opinion, the specter of that retrial still looming. Jennifer Roman, thank you so much for your insight. We really appreciate it.